Hello buddy, San here, engineer, MBA and investor. And in today's video, I want to talk about yesterday's video, which is basically about a CRISPR quote-unquote failed experiment published by a legacy media publisher called Metro. And yesterday's video, we got some couple of comments and it sort of got my brain thinking, and I did a little bit of research there. And this is a perfect example of how a legacy media is publishing propaganda, right? I want to talk about all of that in this video. It's going to be a juicy video. But before we do that, before we jump in today's juicy video, do like this video, smash that like button, destroy that like button. Really does help the channel, guys, the YouTube algorithms. That's how we get the channel out there to more viewers. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. Okay, so let's go to the comments here, right? Let's go to the comment. And I got a couple of comments, and shout out to all of our commenters in our videos. I think they help us out a lot, not just myself, but others. I've seen others tell me that, you know, our channel section is helpful. So a comment section, of course, is helpful. So thank you so much, guys. And this is a perfect example why it's helpful, right? So Talita here, she sort of answered here, strange article and perhaps experiment indeed. Syrian hamsters are animals that are highly territorial and live strictly solitary, except when meeting for mating. In captivity, they should be kept separately as they will fight until death. How writers of this article can state that they have social organization similar to human is beyond me, right? And then there was another comment here, I can't find it, but someone said about something about Metro. Apparently, they're sort of, you know, geared towards people that are taking subways. And actually, we have something similar to in Montreal, where there's this Metro legacy media newspaper that sort of publishes, you know, clickbait articles or title eyeball article, what do you even call it with newspapers. But clearly legacy media here is doing something wrong here, especially what Talita just mentioned here. And that got me thinking, right? Let's do a little bit of research, right? I could have just left off this video, which again, this video is getting a lot of attraction across that because a lot of people are sort of looking into this quote-unquote failed experiment on Twitter, on Reddit, say, hey, what's going on here? And this video, I think, helped out a lot of people yesterday. But now this video, in today's video, will clarify things a little bit more, right? So what I did here is, and there was another article here from Michelle here. The problem is that the biology of mammals is so complicated because it had over 1 billion years to evolve. Imagine how many systems and subsystems evolve. Yeah, so basically here he's saying that, you know, it's not a surprise that, you know, we get these quote-unquote unexpected outcomes, right? But that's not the purpose of this video. We'll jump back to Talita's comment here, like I mentioned, and let's take a look at the other articles. So this is basically a Google search, right? What I did is, are Syrian hamsters, which of course are the hamsters type that are used for this experiment that we're talking about, are they actually, you know, what is their social behavior, right? And what I highlighted here is interesting. So most hamsters seen at pet stores are quite young. Even Syrian hamster can be kept together at a young age. Usually by the time these rodents reach about 8 to 10 weeks, they must be separated before serious fighting, sometimes to death. So that's not just Talita from our comment section there that's saying it. This is an article here that I Googled, and many other articles actually talk about that, right? They're talking about how these Syrian hamsters are actually very wild. They shouldn't be living together. They are not supposed to be together in a cage, right? You should have one per cage. And going back to the legacy article media that I talked about in yesterday's video from Metro, look at this title, guys. Syrian hamsters were chosen for the experiment because they have a social organization similar to humans. Let's go back to Talita's comment here. They should be separated until they fight to death. So that is not social behavior like humans, okay? Humans don't have to be separated because we don't fight to death unless we're threatened for our resources or for our livelihood, right? Which is basically what any animal would do. But clearly we don't have to be separated one per cage, which is what these Syrian hamsters have to be. But this legacy media is completely omitting that, saying that they have a social organization behavior similar to humans. So clearly here, this is a form of propaganda. You have a lie that's stated out. And again, like this YouTuber commenter that said previously, that's not appearing in the list here. I don't know why, but they said it to me. I saw it in the notification on YouTube. This Metro is sort of geared towards the general public on taking subways And then you can see this type of propaganda reaching out to boomers or to younger folks that don't really have actual knowledge about science or actual knowledge about how to research things, right? Imagine if you're 10, 11 years old, you're populating this article, yeah, wow, this is crazy. This CRISPR thing is crazy. It's like the movies, it's biotech gone wrong, right? And clearly here it's completely wrong because Syrian hamsters are not like humans when it comes to social organization. They fight until death, right? That is completely not out of the similarity of what humans do. And just starting this article like that gives me the correct indication that this article is complete propaganda, right? So let's move back now to the actual research paper. The actual research paper that this all is based on, that you could have clicked here, that we didn't do in yesterday's video because didn't want to divert our focus too much here. So I looked at the article, right? And I saw a couple of things, right? So let's take a look at, so obviously they're going through the research and going through how it was done. Let's take a look at the result, right? We'll take a look at the result. Let's take a look at the result. The discussion, actually. Here we report the successful use of CRISPR-Cas9 for the generation of AVPR1, a KO knockout Syrian hamsters. Just the word successful use of CRISPR-Cas9 means that this paper was successful at doing at least some part of what it was supposed to do, which was use CRISPR-Cas9 to knock out a specific gene, which clearly they were able to do. And they're going through that specific process here. And again, despite these expected changes, it is remarkable AVPR1A KO hamsters express double levels of odor stimulated flank, marking aggression towards same-sex conspecifics than WTs. So using these words like remarkable, when I read these words, I'm like, wow, okay, so you guys were successful using CRISPR, and this is remarkable that you've seen this type of behavior. Clearly here, these are positive reinforcement words, right? Now, obviously, if you just read this article, you would never expect this research paper to use words like successful or to use words like remarkable. You would expect them to say failed, you would expect them to be negative, but the sentiment that we get in the discussion is actually quite positive because they're saying, look, we were successful using CRISPR-Cas9 to knock out the gene we wanted to do in a quote-unquote safe manner. Obviously, this article, the legacy media, like I said, for them, that is not safe. But for me, it is safe because you're sort of achieving the process of getting there. Now, the outcome was sort of different than what you expected. And I actually think that's a separate conversation. I mean, it's one thing to be able to knock out a specific gene. It's another thing to sort of analyze what is the outcome. These are two different things. Now, obviously, this is bundled in one research. And like I mentioned in yesterday's video, we should never do any sort of preclinical trial without having both of them bundled. We need to have research properly done, processes simply put in a way where we sort of ethically and morally conduct these experiments so that we don't just have these random outcomes that are completely out of our range of expectations. But here, it's actually the opposite that happened, and they're actually using the words remarkable because it's actually something that they sort of are surprised, but it's good for science, right? This is actually good. Like, I know ethically some of you may say, no, that's not good. That's not what they were trying to achieve, but it's not about what they were specifically, if they were successful or not. It's about having the right processes in place to ethically and morally conduct these experiments, to have a specific set of outcomes which they can analyze and debrief like they're doing here, so that future studies, now we're talking about a couple of hamsters, at least it's not 1,000 of hamsters, right? So in the future that may be saved by this experiment in a way where they can sort of reduce their aggressivity. And again, their nature is to be aggressive, as opposed to what this article was talking about. That's my problem with this article. This article turned information into false information to the public. This is a form of propaganda, CRISPR propaganda, that is completely brainwashing individuals, thinking that these Syrian hamsters, putting this cute picture of a Syrian hamster, look, it is cute, but they're gonna fight until death normally. So look, if you did the CRISPR-Cas9 and they're a little bit more aggressive or significantly more aggressive, it's not the end of the world because they're gonna live alone, period, right? They're gonna live alone in a cage, period, just like we saw. So it's not like you've like killed them on the spot. It's not like you've committed a sin that is irreversible. I think This is part of science. This is part of research. This is part of moving forward in science. And we got to take a stand at that. We got to accept that. We got to face ourselves as humans. Say, look, if we want to test this on humans in the future, we're going to have to sacrifice a few animals. But again, this is going to come through a cost. There is a cost of implementing processes, systems, ethically and morally doing the right thing, right? And I think this research paper did the right thing. You know, they were using these successful words and saying, basically reiterating that things have actually been good, right? So another intriguing and surprising finding emerged when we examined the result of eliminating functional and aggressive behavior, right? So previous study have found the injection of AVP into AHL stimulates aggression in A and M hamsters and inhibits aggression in F hamsters. That injection of selective AVPR1 antagonist into AH inhibits aggression in M and stimulates aggression in F hamsters. Therefore, we predicted the absence of AVPR1 as AS would reduce aggression in M and increase aggression in F. As predicted, aggression was higher in AVPR1 a KO knockout F than WTs. However, aggression was unexpectedly higher than heterozygotes or WTs. So what I'm getting at, the reason why I'm reading this out loud, I'm not just reading it just to read it. It's actually that I'm trying to make a point here. These researchers had a set of belief going into this research. They did everything that they could to sort of put the system and processes in place to knock out that specific gene using CRISPR-Cas9. And we should be applauding them for doing this the ethical and the morally the right thing. Now, this highlighted part that I said that they were unexpectedly higher because they knocked out a specific gene in a specific set of environment of a specific hamster. That shouldn't be something that you want to sort of propagate to the public saying, hey, look, this is CRISPR-Cas gone wrong. This is why this is wrong. I mean, and then you start putting this cute picture. I think it's completely taken out of context. There is nothing moral about this type of article, and I cannot stay silent about it because I've seen this story go with Tesla in a different vertical, different industry, different sector. But I've seen that happen with Tesla with their battery electrical vehicles going quote unquote on fire when they're completely omitting all the fire cars from ICE cars, from gas combustion engines. I mean, I've seen the propaganda for that type of company, and I'm seeing it here in CRISPR. Of course, this is a technology slightly different. It affects a lot more people, a lot more research, a lot more companies involved in this landscape. But this may cost us a couple of years if we stay silent about it. Because you guys gotta remember, guys, FDA is gonna look at all of that, right? The FDA is gonna look at all of that. They're gonna look at all of that. They're gonna see it. The public scrutiny. It's gonna matter, right? You may think that these guys are researchers. They're gonna completely omit this type of form of propaganda, but at the end of the day, humans are gonna be humans, right? Humans are gonna human, right? This is where bunch of individuals, bunch of species with emotions, with feelings, and if you have this type of propaganda that's sort of recirculating in the average Joe mind, then of course you're gonna get some friction when it comes to approving these types of methods, these types of technologies to the public, right? Food for thought. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think. Hopefully you guys are having a beautiful Sunday. I'm gonna try to have one. Thank you so much for watching. Do like this video, subscribe if you're not. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think. And thanks so much for the commenters once again. Have a beautiful Sunday and a beautiful end of the weekend. Thank you.